This is a video tutorial for Forecaster, a program you'll be using in your drug design module. The first thing you'll need to do is navigate to the Forecaster login page and input your login information. When you log in, you'll see this menu bar at top. Now the first thing you want to do is draw the structures of the molecules you want to dock. So for that, we'll click on the Sketcher tab. There we go. The first molecule I want to draw is our known inhibitor menastrol. Now that we have the basic carbon skeleton, we can quickly add the heteroatoms by hovering over the atom and clicking on the keyboard to get the desired atom type. So in that case, I clicked O on my keyboard. Go. Generic file name. And now we want to draw the other three molecules we decided to dock to our protein KSP, or EG5. They're interchangeable, the names of the protein. These three derivatives of menastrol where I've simply modified the ester group. If you're wondering why I decided to make these three derivatives, it's because I went and I loaded up the crystal structure of KSP bound to menastrol and looked at the inhibitor inside the binding pocket. Since we want to make a better binder than menastrol, it makes sense to try to improve the intermolecular interactions between the protein ligand binding site, all in gray and green, and the ligand. So I decided to increase the size of the ester to hopefully maximize the hydrophobic van der Waals interaction between those two groups. Once I decided to do that, I then double-checked that no one had made the molecule I wanted to make by looking on the class wiki. So when I load molecules other students have made, I see that the ester portion has remained largely unmodified. So I think it's a good thing to change. So I'll go back. There we go. Into our molecular drawing window. And draw those structures. So here I left the structure of menastrol. I'm just modifying the ester portion. So now that we're first going to load Monastrol. There it is. And I want to merge it with the other files I've just made. Sometimes when you don't see your molecules that you just made in the merge with pull down menu, you just have to step out of Sketcher and then step back in, and now they should all be there. So I'm going to merge Monastrol with my first derivative, MCB1, and merge. Now I need to merge that file with the second molecule I made, so I'm going to load it. And then I want to merge it with this SDF file here. Make sure you always merge it, the other two molecules, with the .sdf file, which is the current file with the combined molecules. One more time. Now that we have inputted all our molecules, we're ready to dock them to our protein. In Forecaster, a docking run is called a job. So we'll go to the Jobs Manager, and if there isn't a job loaded, we'll add a new one by clicking Add New Job. So the parameters for the job have already been loaded for you, so I'm going to select the parameters for Chem 392, or the workflow for Chem 392, and I'll give it a name. Click Continue. So now we should see a diagram board with these steps in our workflow. We'll need to modify each of these individual steps. So the first one we're going to modify is the setup protein for docking. So we'll click on the pencil to modify it and input the files and settings we want. So first of all, the number of proteins we're going to dock to is 1. So we'll leave that like it is. Oh, here, there's no pull down menu for a protein file. That's because I skipped a step. We first have to load the files that we want. All the files that I just made are in My Files, so I'll simply click Copy from My Files. And I want KSB ligand, KSB protein, and the combined file of my ligands. So now we're ready to modify these steps. So protein file number 1, KSB protein, use ligand to binding site, yes. Ligand file. So we're using the ligand that the protein was crystallized with to define the binding site. Ligand cutoff 7 is fine. Output file name, my initials again, and save. So now that we've input all our settings, there should be a green check mark. Now we want to continue on telling Fitted which files we want to use and which parameters we're going to use. Most of these parameters are going to be default. So convert 2D to 3D. This step is going to convert the structures we just drew in that chemical structure drawing window to 3D. So we'll pick the combined file, and I'll give it a new name. And save. Last thing to do is set up ligands for docking. Again, we click on the pencil to modify it. The input file is going to be the three-dimensional structures from the last step, so MCB1 3D. The output file name, MCB1 EEM, for electronegativity equalization method. And save. Last one. Number of proteins 1. Protein prefix. Ligand file is already inputted for us. Output file name. And everything else stays as it's already there. Done. So we set up our workflow for a fitted docking run. So now that we're all set to dock, we'll click Update, which brings us back to the Job Manager's original menu, and we'll click on Start Job. These bullet points here, their color indicates the progress of the docking run. When they turn green, that means that step is finished. The first 3 go by quite rapidly. The last step here, the actual docking step, will take the longest, about 15 minutes, since it's quite computationally intensive. In the meantime, why don't we go and take a look at the molecule we just converted to 3D by going to the File Manager. So I'm going to look at the file, the new file that's in our File Manager that was created for our docking run. So in this file are all the current, in this folder are all the current files that Fitted has made. So the one that has our 3D structures is going to be this one, MCB1 3D. So when we click on the name, a Java applet should load.